Hi, my name is Phil Spencer and I am the CEO of Xbox. Hello, Bill Gates. Why is Forza Horizon 4 leaving stores? We have infinite money. I just discovered that I'm not in charge of anything. Forza Horizon 4 will be delisted from digital stores, just like its predecessors. But this time, the internet made a bigger fuss about it than usual. Games are art. In my opinion, they are experiences that should be preserved for future generations to enjoy, just like books and movies. Although several books and movies have disappeared forever, it is always possible to observe greater action by companies behind these brands to preserve their products for future consumers. But with games, the story is a little more complex, as games require a specific type of hardware to function. To experience Nintendo 64 games, you need the Nintendo 64 console. But emulators exist, and in my opinion they are beneficial for the gaming world, as someday this old hardware will die and we will no longer have access to their games. And some companies re-release their titles in packages or collections, such as the Mega Man Legacy Collection, several Sonic collections, among others. Recently, games from the Resident Evil franchise were re-released by GOG, but all of these re-released games only have original content, that is, the characters and soundtracks were made exclusively for these games. Forza Horizon 4 is a racing game with real car models and music from various bands, in other words, licensed content. Licensed content is when the company pays for the license of something. For example, if I want a Metallica song in my game, I have to make a contract with the company that holds these rights to be able to put it in my game. The types of games that suffer most from this are sports games with player image licenses and racing games, which generally have to pay for car and soundtrack license. Because of these contracts, many of these games ended up disappearing, and some of these games still exist because fans kept them through emulation and piracy. Many people's mentality is that these types of games are replaceable. Next year's football game replaces this year, but Madden 08 will always be Madden 08, and Pro Evolution Soccer 2012 will always be Pro Evolution Soccer 2012. In some sports games, you can even agree, as some companies only update the team and don't update the mechanics. But even so, that football game with that cast of players was part of history, and we need to preserve it for future generations to see. Car games often have different maps, exclusive cars in each game, and many cars that only exist in those games, like some concept cars from old Gran Turismo games, for example. At the end, piracy ended up playing the role of preservation in the place of the companies that do not want to renew their licenses, or ends up not being viable for them to do this. Or in some cases, like in the Grand Theft Auto franchise, they ended up removing some tracks from the game's soundtrack, which is a smart move, but playing without these songs doesn't seem right to me. Despite living in a country With a difficult economic situation for games, I do not advise anyone to follow the path of piracy. If you can afford it, buy the games and support the companies. But if there is no place to buy the game you want, what option do you have? I played the first Forza Horizon game when it was released on the Xbox 360 and I had a lot of fun. Unfortunately, I went through a difficult financial situation, and when I had access to the games again, I immediately bought Forza Horizon 4 on the PC. I really want to revisit the first game and get to know the second and the third, but I will have to wait for them to hack the Xbox One or make an emulator for it. Well, now if you will excuse me, I'm going to look for a copy of Madden 08 on eBay. Wait, what am I doing? I don't like American football. I think I have lost my sanity.